Before I cover estimating water supplies, I thought I'd just make a quick video on some sprinkler hydraulic reference material. This video will be for people who aren't in the business but are interested in understanding more about hydraulics, and some of these slides will be for people who are preparing for their PE and fire protection. There are three main online reference materials you can use. NFPA now provides free online access and valuable resource. NFPA 13, of course, is the granddaddy of all the NFPA standards. Uh, I would say that at a minimum, you should be get a password and access that just to have some understanding. If you're in the business, of course, you probably should have a hard copy of 13. I've had a hard copy of 13 going back into the 80s, and you saw some of my earlier videos. I have some in the 50s and 60s as well. Factory mutual data sheets. It's an amazing range of information um, uh, covering structural, wind, electrical, boiler machinery related materials. But within that, there's also just some really great information on sprinkler. I think 2-89 or 98, I can't recall which now, has this great data sheet on friction losses, some really detailed information on that. Again, sign up, you need a password, just a tremendous resource. The final one is the AXA XL guidelines, also available. You know, part of the old IRI guidelines, tremendous information. I used to have it as a hard copy, but I tossed it all when I retired a few years ago. Just an absolutely tremendous resource. So if you just had those three as a resource for a person who occasionally need to understand what you were looking at, you would really have quite a bit of information. Now, if you're in the business and you're interested in knowing more about sprinkler hydraulics, this book I'd recommend. This is Sprinkler Hydraulics by Harold Moss. This is the first edition back in '83. I know there's a more current one. I think it's the third edition. Uh, just a great book. It's a really kind of an inside baseball type of book. It's not for someone who's just got a cursory interest in it, but if you're really interested in the subject, it's a tremendous book to have. The only thing I'd caution you about is the price. Now, I've seen it online for $11. That's the cheapest I've seen it, but I've also seen it for $120. I mean, only you can make that decision as to whether or not uh, that's uh, that's something you want to pay for. I personally would not pay $120 for the book, but if I saw it in a bookstore, and that's why I put it up there for $7 or $8 or $10, or the company is willing to spring for a Kindle. I know they had Kindle at from $32 to $77. That's a good book to have, and just it's more reference material. You're not going to read it like a novel, but you might come back to it time when you just want to delve into certain issues. This is another great book. I used it when I studied for my PE back in the early 90s. It's a really simple, straightforward book. Simple math, really big font, simplifies everything. But really, don't let the simplification fool you. It's a really good book, especially if you're studying for the PE, or you just want to understand fire protection hydraulics better. Um, I have the first edition. You can see I'm old, so I have the first edition, and I think there's a third edition out right now. Again, the book is really expensive. I've seen it for $144. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to me, anyways. But if you can find something like this when you're going through an old bookstore, or something's on sale, or you just in your path you run across it and you see it at a reasonable price, I pick it up, especially if you're in the business. And of course, if your company's paying for it, I'd order one and get one, especially if you know you're preparing for the PE. It's really just a tremendous resource. And I would say that the same about Pat Brock. I like Harold Wasson, Pat Brock, kind of two of the kind of the fire protection heroes in my mind. The Pat Brock used to run a correspondence course at OSU. I'm sure Oklahoma State University. I'm sure they still do, but it's obviously it's not correspondence any course anymore. I mean, at the time we would uh, rip off pages, fill them out, and mail them off to OSU where they'd be graded and sent back to us. Of course, it's a thing of the past. But I would check out the OSU courses, which might be interesting as well. If you're interested in fire protection in general, I know the OSU has courses. The Chubb Insurance Fire Lab out of New Jersey, I used to teach over there. They have some great courses there. Also have some hands-on material. I think FM does courses, but it may be for clients only. I mean, you only have to do a cursory search, and you'll find just about what you're looking for. One of the last comments I want to make is just on gathering information and learning subjects. Back in the day, uh, back in the Stone Age when I started, there was limited information. You got what you could from the people around you, and you went to the library, and you had limited resources in comparison to what you have today, where you just have this glut, this overwhelming mountain of information available. Sometimes when I was working on here, people complain that their company wasn't picking up the tab for their training, and I just first I tell them something, and then I just realized it wasn't even worth my while to tell them. But there's so much information online that you should be able to train yourself in just about any damn subject you want just by going online and grabbing it. I'm an electrical engineer by education, so I wanted to learn about how to lay out a solar installation, and by the time I was done, I was able to pretty much lay out a system from an electrical standpoint, knowing the wiring requirements, the safety controls in place, the different modules. And so I was really, and I'd never taken one course, and I'd never really had a mentor or anything else. It was all stuff that I just learned online. And I think you can do that with fire protection as well. So don't feel you're hemmed in because your company or for whatever reason you're not being supported. You really are on your own out here, and you don't need anybody's support, backing, um, help. This is something you can do all on your own if you're interested in doing it. This is a quick video. Just want to tell you that there's a lot of resources out there, and the only impediment to learning is actually you. So if you're interested, just go for it. Next up will be the video on water supplies.